Good evening and welcome. This is Tuesday Folk People, with as much accent on people as it is on the lovely folk music that they're going to perform for us tonight. So we have two acts. We've got the Leedham Sisters and we have got Jeremy. And I think that we've probably got as nice a combination with Jeremy Harmer and the Leedham Sisters as we've had on any of these programs. Two ends, Jeremy won't mind me saying, and I'm sure Maddie and Hattie won't mind me saying, that they're opposite ends of the age spectrum. And we're going to, well, there's a giggle at the background there something. And we're going to see different aspects of folk music and hear different perspectives. So let's welcome them all onto the couch, so to speak. Here they all are.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi there.
We're going to start off tonight with Jeremy, but we're all going to be here and we're all going to be chatting with each other and listening to each other's music. I think before we get into any conversation at all, what we'll do is hear Jeremy's first song.
As the river flows down to the sea, I'm part of you, you're part of me. The tide is low, then the tide runs high. A life awaits we love, sometimes we cry. The seasons turn, the moon and sun. We are many, we are one. Some of the things that brighten the day, the blackbird's song, the smell of new mown hay, the traffic rumble, the rattle of rails, Marsh Harrier's flight as he swoops and sails, and the voice of a child as she laughs and cries, the lap of the ocean, the arc of the great big sky. Some of the things that darken the night, a rain of bombs and the migrants' flight, the lies that stoke the populist fire, the truth, but then they call you liar, liar, and the poison we pump into the gasping air. Injustice fuel when life should be so much more fair. But as the river flows into the sea, we're part of you, you're part of me. The tide is low, then the tide runs high. A life awaits we love, sometimes we cry. The circle turns the moon and sun. We are many, we are one. And now you're here, and the day seems fair. A soft wind blows in the summer air. I hear your laughter, it shines like light. If the past is dark, well then the future's bright, and you can live your life and dream your dreams and live that life. As it is, don't be fooled by how it sometimes seems. And this is the life that we give to you. Some of it's lies, some of it's true. Yours is the future, ours is the past. One fades away, one's born to last, and life goes on with its usual haze, and we all do our best in our different ways.
Jeremy, thank you. Singer, songwriter, multi-instrumentalist, Jeremy, that was a song of yours.
Yes, indeed. Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about it, if you would.
Of course. Alessia is, I'm the luckiest guy in the world. And quite, as you say, quite rightly, at the other end of the age spectrum from Hattie and Maddie. I've got 3 grandchildren, and Alessia is my second grandchild. And I wrote that shortly after she was born. She's 2.5 now. And it's just, you always wonder what kind of world kids are born into these days. But that's what that was about.
That's the joy of writing your own music, isn't it? You're able to speculate in your own words and with your own tunes.
Absolutely. Yeah.
What the future might look like.
Yeah.
We've got interesting comparisons between Maddie, Hattie and you, Jeremy, this evening. We've got both of you with classical connections. And I think it's fair to say that having started, well, let's start with where you started, 60s, dare I say, 70s. Give us a clue as to where it all came from.
Of course. Well, I at school, I sang in choirs for...
Well, you fell in love with your teacher.
Well, yes, when
music teacher, that's right.
I was about 10 years old. I fell in love with the music teacher, Miss Bishop, her name was. And I fell in love with only the kind of devotion that a 10-year-old can give to someone who's just, anyway, and of the many things I loved about her, one was the fact that she played the guitar. She had was it a Hohner nylon string guitar or something like that? And so I pestered my mum and dad mercilessly until on Christmas Day when I was 11, there under the Christmas tree was a guitar. And it was the best present I've ever had. I don't have the guitar anymore. I suspect it was a pretty cheapo thing, but it was the concept guitar, and that was just absolutely perfect. And so I sort of used to play. I just play chords and stuff like that, which is fine, but there's nothing wrong with playing chords. And at school, what do you say, Maddie?
That's all we can do.
Well, I don't believe that. Well, it's not the point. The point is you probably play them beautifully and they accompany your beautiful voices. Whereas in my case, it was a bit sort of very clod-hoppy, I think. And then at school I did choirs and I played the trumpet a bit and that kind of thing. But it was when I got to university that I started going to the folk club, and so my sort of latent interest in folk music, that's where that came from, where that was awakened.
Let's hear another of your songs, and then we'll talk a little bit about who motivated you at university.
Sure. There in the photograph, proud grubby faces in front of a pile of burning tires. The Children's Defence Force to stop the big aeroplanes from dropping their bombs from the skies. But as for me, when I look back, I remember sunshine, the midges that danced in the heat, sweet lemonade swimming in clear streams and staying up late for a treat. That's the life that they should be having, summer sweet. There in the photograph, down at the water's edge, a young boy face down in the sand. The glittering waves wash his poor lifeless body, bereft of a future once planned. But as for me, when I look back, I remember surfing, all the fun that we had at Polzeath. the wind on our bodies, the wet sand beneath us, warm towels, laughing, catching our breath. That's the life that he should have had instead of this pointless death. And there in the photograph, knee-deep in muddy ground, a small girl stands all alone, clutching a plastic doll. She's a refugee, trying to remember a place called home. But as for me, when I look back, I remember the fireside, tea and biscuits and a story for bed. Under the covers, safe from the thunder, and nothing much to worry my young head. That's the life that she should be having instead. But this is the life we have given them, with our greed and our bloody wars. Our hearts break when we see the photographs, but it's us, we are the cause. So here in this last photograph, taken just yesterday, looks like everything is fine. Look, the children are growing up, we're all happy together. You can almost hear the laughter flow like wine. But in my mind's eye, still see the Children's Defence Force, the young boy lying dead on the beach, the refugee children fleeing wars that we made for them, and praying it's safety they'll reach. If only we could learn the lessons the photographs teach. 'Cause they're in the photograph. They're in the photograph. They're in those photographs.
Brilliant.
Massively powerful, Jeremy. That's a kind of it's as close actually to a sort of self-penned protest song as I was rabbiting on the other evening on one of these programs that we don't have the protest songs that we used to have. Well, there is one, and thank you for that. Which seems actually a million miles away from where, correct me if I've got this wrong, but the UEA Folk Club perhaps, Bert Yanch and John Renborn and one or two others got you going on folk music?
Absolutely. I mean, I was really lucky to arrive there at a time when they were just starting out. And of course, they were supreme experimenters and artists and things like that. And suddenly from playing my Peter, Paul and Mary songs to find myself sitting a few feet away from Bert Jansch playing his extraordinary sort of fingerstyle, classical, folky steel string guitar style, which is, you know, was so extraordinary. It changed my life really, and I'll never cease to be grateful for that. So
it was a hugely exciting time, wasn't it?
Oh, and so yes, it was.
Yeah.
But I also have enormous envy for people who studied who have been able to study folk music at university. I know who I'm talking to, and you know, there's a course which am I right, Maddie? You did the Newcastle course, is that right?
I did the classical music course, but they gave me the opportunity to do a lot of the folk modules, so I sort of did a bit of a hybrid.
Yeah, well, I mean, I you know, if I had my time over again,
Me too.
Yes. But I would do that folk music course in a heartbeat, because what and I've learned a lot about folk music and over the years, but I started from a very low base. I started from just the very, very popular folk songs in the clubs and stuff like that. But yeah.
Okay. And that took you to London, I think.
Yes, indeed. Well, I went to London. I tried to study to become a barrister to please my family, my father in particular. But it
As
sort of
you do.
it went a bit off piste, and I sort of ended up sort of living in a squat and playing the guitar and busking. And then singing around in the clubs there, and me and a group of people who I lost touch with completely. We used to organise a weekly event at the Troubadour for a few months, which, you know, the great Troubadour.
I mean, how many people can say that? Not very many.
Yeah, well, but I trotted my tapes, Maddie and Hattie, little things which went round and round. I trotted my tapes around to the record companies, and I got sort of smatterings of interest, but it never really worked. It never happened for me. But hey, it was great grounding. It was a huge experience for me. All that.
There's a whole bunch of messages. I haven't looked on the Facebook ones, but here we are on YouTube, and it's saying, looking forward to this, Maddie's great Sunday sessions, etc., etc. Steve, hello to you all. We're in for a great treat. Gosh, it goes on and on.
We've got a lot on Facebook as well.
Right.
Irvin says,
nice brilliant. Sorry. You carry on. No, please.
I was just saying, Irvin says, nice guitaring. Tony Purdy says, very moving song. We've got someone else says, beautiful song, master craftsman. And they just go on.
But we're going to have another one.
Yes.
Paul, if you're able.
And I'm bound aboard a whaler, oh shallow brown. Yes, I'm bound aboard a whaler, oh shallow brown. And we're bound for old St. George's, oh shallow brown. Yes, we're bound for old St. George's, oh shallow brown. And my babies, they are grieving, oh shallow brown. Yes, my babies, well, they are grieving, shallow brown. Farewell, my Juliana, oh shallow brown. Farewell, my Juliana, oh oh shallow brown. Yes, farewell, my Juliana, oh shallow brown. Farewell, my Juliana, farewell.
That was absolutely brilliant. I love the arrangement.
It's as you know, it's just an extract from a longer piece, but as Maddie and Hattie probably know about that song, it's a Halyard Shanty, and so many different versions of it around the place. But my version focuses on one of the versions is all about a slave being sold on in the West Indies and shipped out as a slave, and that's what that's all about.
It's a version, an arrangement I haven't heard like that before, and I absolutely loved it.
You could really feel all the emotion coming out of there.
Do you have songs like that, you two, where I mean, I get through it, but I find it so moving. I suppose if I sing it 100 more times, it'll die down, but I find it so moving as a song that the emotion in that song is just extraordinary.
Definitely, yeah.
We don't want you to lose the emotion. Please burst into tears. We'd like to see that. We all feel like doing it. But we must move on. We've got much more of your life to explore. And from London and from the Troubadour, and I'm so envious. Somebody
Me too.
That it was then Mexico and mariachi, and that I vaguely knew about. Troubadour I knew nothing about. So if I Wikipedia'd the right thing, then I'd be fascinated to hear a little about it from you.
Well, the evenings we did, I mean, I can't believe, I will never forgive myself for this, because of course I missed going on the evenings when, the young Paul Simon was playing there, and when, age 21 or something like that. And I missed some of the other great people there. I heard Linda Thompson. I didn't hear Richard Thompson down in the Troubadour. We just ran our own kind of folk club. It was kind of a sing around, but we programmed it and had it all sort of like that. And there was some fabulous musicians. I learned a new kind of guitar tuning. There was a guy there called Chris Davis, who's now back in Australia, who's just the most beautiful man I've ever seen, and he had the most beautiful girlfriend I've ever seen, which I was very jealous of. But hey, and he played beautiful songs and people like that. And there was a flautist I used to play with, and so my memory is so shot that I can't really remember too much about it. But
do you know what I've just realised? Of course, there are two Troubadours we're talking about here. One is the Troubadour Club, and I would just repeat, I am so cross about that. I never went there. The other Troubadour was the Mexican musical Troubadour that goes along with mariachi.
Oh, okay,
yeah. So is that, am I right in saying that that's a sort of Spanish influence, sort of medieval chivalry type music?
Oh, for sure. Yes, absolutely. And that, what was his name? Blondin, who went around singing under prison walls until he found out where Richard the Lionheart was in.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one.
Yeah. And they played, I guess they played sort of lute type instruments and things like that. And they went around like that. Yeah. But no, the Troubadour was just this. It still exists. The Troubadour. It's a coffee bar, and it has a concert venue underneath, downstairs is the word I was trying to say. And but I'm not quite sure what kind of music they're doing there now. So,
tell me what the instrument was you were playing on the last number, Charlie Brown.
That's a hand harmonium, and like you guys, I've lived a lot of my lockdown life on Zoom and on I got about March the 16th last year. I got this thing saying, well, of course, our get together, our musical get together is cancelled, and I was sitting at breakfast having my coffee, and I got very depressed. So I got back in touch with the guy organizing it and said, well, I've used Zoom for editorial meetings and things like that. Shall we try it on Zoom? Now, one or two other people had already started, but we were one of the first people. Our first Zoom session was on March the 20th, and I've been running twice weekly sessions ever since then. Tomorrow night, you don't have anything on tomorrow night, do you?
No.
Okay.
Please, actually, yes, we do.
Oh, well, then I won't say anything about tomorrow night.
No, do, because
tomorrow night is our 117th meeting. Anyway, the point of the story is that there's a fantastic singer there, and I saw her doing a song which you two will know, Maddie and Hattie, called "She Moves Through the Fair," which is a very, very popular folk song, and she did it using a shruti box, which is just you basically it has bellows like this one, but it just gives you a drone. And I was totally, I've heard them before, but it just blew my mind. But I wanted a bit more than that. I wanted sort of, chords and stuff. And so then I came to this hand harmonium, and it's a new instrument for me. It's only a few months old, and I just love it, because you can do things with your voice and with harmonies that you can't do on a guitar. I think.
No, it sounded beautiful.
I went on about that a bit. Sorry.
And you're a cellist and a viola player?
I wish I played the cello. No, I have a duo, myself and a guy called Josh. We play, and he plays with me. Indeed, my last CD I recorded mostly with him in the studio of someone called Mark Fawcett, who you know very well. But no, I play the viola.
And there's a bit of fusion, I think, that you're managing to get into between classical and folk.
Well, I'm extraordinarily lucky that I have friends in the classical world, and through mutual friends, Steve Bingham, who you know well,
who's listening tonight.
Oh, good. Well, and through him, I came across. I met an incredible string arranger called Phil Toms, and he's arranged quite a few of my songs for, first of all, string quartet, and then quintet, and now string sextet, and so we've done some shows with that combination. So you get the sort of the folk style guitar, and behind me this incredible, sort of Rolls Royce sound of beautiful string music. It's really fantastic to have that when you're singing. It's beautiful.
We're looking forward to hearing that on another occasion. I hope we'll be able to. Lots of lovely comments coming through. I won't read them all out. But great arrangement, excellent music. I mean, there's masses of them, and they all say a similar version of the same thing. Let's have a last song, if we can.
I looked for you along the ancient paths, past the crashing waves, the jagged rocks, the storm-flecked waves, the moon and tides in their eternal, infernal dance. I looked for you, I looked in vain to see you hover in the wind. But storm-lash closed my eyes and ears, and you were gone. when I looked again. I walked down lanes by streams and rivers, past the muddy autumnal fields. But all I heard was the sighing of the tired leaves, a distant mournful peal. The countryside seemed bare and drear and empty as the sweet air disappeared. But still I searched for you, to hear your voice and fill the silence that I feared. Won't anybody tell me where you are and why you've gone away? I need to hear you on the wind and catch the thoughts you send my way, 'cause without them what it feels like is I've got nothing left to say. So tell me now when you'll be back to hover in the wind, waiting for your prey. And then the music will return, the words come floating after, I'll know what to say. The songs we sing when we are happy, or to make bad times go away. 'Cause when you're here, putting lines to melodies is as easy as when night follows day. Won't anybody tell me where you are or why you've gone away? I need to hear you on the wind to catch the thoughts you send my way, 'cause without them what it feels like is I've got nothing left to say. But when you're here, putting lines to melodies is as easy as when night follows day.
Jeremy, a very beautiful, a very lovely song. Windhover, I believe it's called, and it's the title track from a new CD.
Yes, it is a title track from a new CD, and it was, and of course, if you know the Gerald Manley Hopkins poem, "Windhover" is a name for kestrel, and I was in Cornwall in September, and there was this massive gale. I was on the cliffs above a place called Port Gwyn. But even so, the windhovers, the kestrels, there were two of them just still in the wind, hovering. So, and I was having terrible trouble thinking up any ideas for songs at the time. And if you're a songwriter, when you have those kind of terrible blank places, stages, you get terribly. And that just seemed like a metaphor for what happens when the muse isn't there, so.
Then if you'd like to keep us posted with the progress and release of that CD, we'd be very happy to let people know where they can get it and how they
Thank
can
you
get
very
it and when
much.
they can get it. So please, anyone that would like to, and I'm sure lots of you will, then just email us at the website and we'll put you all in touch. So Jeremy, loved it. Thank you so much. It's been absolutely gorgeous listening to you. And,
Thank you very much. And
yeah.
thank you so much for inviting me.
And we shall now turn to Maddie and Hattie.
Yay.
And lovely to see you both. Before we do anything else, we're going to hear a song from you, and then we'll talk to you.
Okay. Where Logan Stream sings lullabies, there blows a lily fair. The twilight gleam is in her eye. The moon is on her head, and like a lovesick Leedham she hath my heart enthralled. No life I own, nor liberty, for love is Lord of all. And often when the beetles on have lulled thee to sleep, I steal unto her shieling lawn, and through the dawning peep, there on the cricket's singing stone, she spares the bogwood far, and hums in sad sweet undertone the song of heart's desire. Where Logan Stream sings lullabies, there blows a lily fair. The twilight gleam is in her eyes, the moon is on her hair, and like a lovesick Leedham she hath my heart enthralled. No life I own, nor liberty, for love is Lord of all. For love is Lord of all.
Well done indeed. Beautiful voices we're hearing. Someone, of course, has to say his bark is worse than his bite. Yeah, okay, get it. Lovely to see the dog. What's the dog's name?
That's Lottie.
We've
We've got another video, and usually we always have them in the video. We don't try to get them in, but they always come in. Quite annoying. Because they'll ruin it with their panting, but
That was
can't.
absolutely
No, it's folk music. It's what it's supposed to be, spontaneous.
yeah.
There we go.
That was absolutely beautiful. I said privately to you that was really worth waiting for you because I haven't really heard you, but that was beautiful. I loved it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Oh dear, here's another one. Pause for thought.
Yeah. Oh no.
Enough. We're not going to have any more. It was lovely. So tell us a little bit about how you got into all of this and where it all started and came from.
Oh, it was Hattie.
So
Hattie,
yeah, it was me. I think when I was like 15, and I wanted to start singing some stuff, and I didn't want to do it by myself. So I bullied Maddie into joining me.
For anyone who doesn't know, I'm 4 years younger, so I wasn't interested in it at the time. All I wanted to do was play, but she forced me to harmonise with her. What a nightmare.
Yeah.
Some sort of abuse.
Yeah, I know.
I love it now, though, so I'm quite grateful.
And you went busking at age 11 to 15.
Yeah. Dad
Mm.
sort of, we used to go on holiday every year, and I don't understand it now, but we used to get really bored, just being on holiday, just the three of us, we just fight. And then Dad suggested that we go and entertain ourselves by busking on the street. So then we took our guitar and we started busking out there, and then realized that it was actually really fun because we got loads of money. And then on one of the first times that we busked, we actually had a couple come up and ask us to sing at their wedding the next day. So it was really good.
Yeah.
What were you busking in Croatia?
Oh, it
we
was
were doing,
like pop songs, wasn't it?
well, no, it was more country, I think. We were doing the Dixie Chicks.
Yeah, there was a
and-
lot of country actually. I forgot about that.
And then I think the one that we ended up singing at the wedding was "You Raise Me Up." So we look back now and we're cringing a bit, but no, it
I
was
feel
really
like
fun.
that was one of our first harmony songs, though, wasn't it? So it
Yeah,
was quite an important one for us, I think.
We were so proud of ourselves. But I remember our little sister, she must have been about 6 at the time or something, and she wanted to be involved, but she couldn't really sing that well at the time. So she used to sit next to us selling tourism books, because we had a friend there who was like the chief tourism man. He was our manager, Paul, and he gave us a load of books to try and sell at the same time.
And then time went on and university came along. And you both studied classical music?
Yeah, we did exactly the same degree.
Same A level, same degree, didn't we?
I know, we copied each other all the way. Well, I've copied you, actually.
Yeah.
So tell me how you then moved, and I'm so glad you did, into the folk space. What's the big attraction?
I think for me it was experimenting with new genres at uni and coming across folk as part of my classical exams, and it resonated with me a lot more than the rest of the music did. And I think perhaps it's better suited to my range, but I think I also connect with the content of it and the melodies, because they're very kind of familiar to things that you'd have listened to as in nursery rhymes and other stuff growing up.
And the stories, they're always so quirky and sort of poetic as well at the same time. And I feel like when you sing folk, it's a lot more relaxed and you can sing how you want to sing to an extent.
There's a freedom.
But with classical, it's very strict. And like, I love classical so much. And when I get it right, I think that it's the best thing, because you just feel so proud of yourself. But with folk, you can relax and you almost feel a bit more at home.
Jeremy, you hop across genres. What's a quick thought from you on that one?
I know exactly what she means. I mean, I'm not a particularly accomplished classical player, but I'm an absolute passionate lover of classical music, and I get to play in orchestras, and that's really wonderful. I repeat, I'm not particularly accomplished, but the dots are the dots, and the dynamics are the dynamics, and the markings are the markings, and you have to do exactly what it says. Whereas when you've got one of these you've got a guitar with you or a song in your song to sing, you can feel it and in a different way. I completely understand what Matt is talking about.
Yeah. I think we all get that. Let's have another song.
Storytelling, yeah.
Ancient shores where I've grown, where music holds a memory and love is shown through song. Colors so bright, morning through to night. Lavender
probably just say now, if anyone's listening and can hear the third voice, it's the third sister who wasn't available for the actual recording, so we sort of inserted her separately. So it's not like a weird ghost in the background.
Technology for you. Well, it's great to have her. Let me read you some of these things. Instantly captivated by you two, beautiful. Wow. Beautiful sound, gorgeous harmonies, fab harmonies, wonderful sibling harmonies, pitch perfect. I'll embarrass you if I keep going on. There's plenty more.
Oh, thank you.
So nice. No, that song I actually wrote because Croatia's been a pretty integral part of our sort of musical background. And for the first year ever last year, because of COVID, we couldn't go across. And usually that's sort of where we perform, and that's where we do almost everything. And I was really missing it. So sort of wrote that as a tribute to Croatia and to the places that we've performed there and everything, and all the people over there.
Mm. And Hattie, you're travelling shortly, I think. You're a music teacher, I should say, down in Kent at the moment, but that's not going to last for very much longer.
No, it's not. I'm moving to Kazakhstan in August.
Not everybody can say that.
No, feels a bit random, but
It is. It's the most random country to go to.
But what we want is for you to feed us back some Kazakhstan folk music.
Yes, well, that's the plan. I've been listening to a lot already, and it is fascinating, very instrumental. And there's a lot of features of like running horse, like hoofbeats and things, because obviously they're nomadic. So yeah, it'll be really interesting to see some of that live and authentic.
Yeah, well, we would absolutely love to hear some back from you. It would be a really gorgeous experience, or a bonus. It's good enough having you on here, but what a bonus that would be. Wow, brilliant. We'll hear another song, which is, Maddie, again, you were involved in the arrangement, I think, of this. Tell us a little bit, before we listen to it, about the fusion here, and you did some clever stuff. So
at university, one of the tasks that I was given in first year was to take the well-known folk song, Scarborough Fair, and fuse it with another folk song. And I think that the typical thing to do in the folky world is to sort of have the original tune and then sort of then move into another tune. But I, at that point, didn't really understand that that's sort of the way that people usually go about it. So my classical brain kind of kicked in, and I found another song that I think is supposed to, it's older, and I think supposed to have influenced Scarborough Fair, and it's called The Elfin Night. And it's sort of, when you listen to them both, they sort of talk back to each other in a way. So I decided that I would put The Elfin Night over the top. So in two of the verses, you'll hear Hattie singing the normal melody, and then I'm doing The Elfin Night in sort of response to her, but at the same time.
Wow.
Are you going to Scarborough Fair? Parsley, sage, rosemary, and thyme. Remember me to the one who lives there. She once was a true love of mine. This was a true love of mine.
Wow.
Thank you.
Did you like the birds?
Absolutely sensational. Gorgeous, gorgeous.
I think the
Yeah.
cockerel at the end as well made
Yeah.
it in.
Sensational it was. And the
Do
bird
you like?
made it.
Sorry.
Blackbird. Colin, actually. I love the blackbird singing with them, and so did I. Yeah.
We like to perform outside. Generally, that's what we do, isn't it? If we
Yeah.
do record, and we're not very skilled with the technical side of things. we realized after we'd recorded it that things weren't going quite so well, but usually we just use a phone. But if we can do it in sort of the outdoor setting, that's just where we prefer. I'm not sure
It's a
why.
steep learning curve, isn't it? Trying to get the
Yeah,
technology
it's
on board.
not
Well,
have the microphone the wrong way round.
What you are doing is creating a really strong motivation for other young people to come into folk music. I don't know what you think, Jeremy, but there's a bit of a dearth of youngsters in folk music, certainly in the folk clubs I go to. And we need more young people. And that what better example of the beauty that you can create than listening to these two?
I couldn't agree more. It's been such a massive pleasure getting to hear you two, with a little touch of number 3 as well.
Which was spotted actually in there. Where are we? Somebody said, "Who's singing the third harmony part?" The dog.
Plot twist.
You can make a lot of money with that dog.
No, we do usually have Charlotte in that one. So it is a shame that she couldn't come, because I think that she does add this really nice bit. She's got quite a high voice, whereas I'd say Hattie, you've got quite a low voice, and then I sort of go between. But she adds that high harmony a lot of the time, and so it is a shame that we couldn't have her in there. But hopefully in the future we can show some stuff with her.
Definitely.
But Tom's absolutely right about what an incredible sort of model, what an incredible inspiration to follow. If there were other 15 and 11-year-old people listening to
and
you.
parents, actually, Jeremy. I mean, what informed open-minded parents would get behind their kids to do what these ones have done, and how successful that's been.
I have to say, it was all our parents that really got us this far. They were the ones who pushed us from
definitely
a young age.
We would have given up 100 times already, wouldn't we?
Practicing the piano at 7 in the morning. We couldn't have done it, could we? But they were like, "You have to practice. You'll thank us one day." We were like, "No, we won't."
No.
We do.
I did that with my kids as well. Have you done your practice? No.
No, it's important. So I hope that we can inspire people. I'd love to see more people sort of young and just giving it a go. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, without a doubt. That's you're the new generation, the next folk revival. I don't know how many we're going to have, but we've had 3 or 4 already. This is the new one, the next one.
I love folk clubs. There are an awful lot of old blokes with guitars.
There are,
of which unfortunately I can't do anything about the old, but I'm one of those. But of course, if you go to some of the folk festivals, there is a whole tribe of younger players who are and singers who are amazing. But you two are fantastic. I've really enjoyed that.
Thank you.
And
thank you.
Right, if we're looking towards the future a little bit, I mean, has somebody whispered unthanks in your ear, or wailing jennies, or is that anything kind of? I mean, I'm really tempting fate here, aren't I? Such a rotten thing to ask you, but is there any sort of ambition to go in that direction?
I think it's very much kind of see how it goes. We're enjoying the journey and taking the opportunities that we get, but I think because we've been so I guess separated for the past few years and for the foreseeable as well, it's one of those things that if it happens, it's going to happen slowly. So
it's a bit like we're never usually together that much, so as soon as we are anywhere, as long as we can be, we'll do a gig, whether it's in Italy or Croatia or in America or something. We'll make sure that we do. I think we sing more for the pleasure of singing rather than trying to get ourselves out there.
And actually, that's a really good lesson for young people who might be listening to pick up on. It's a huge thing to enjoy.
Mm.
It brings an awful lot of pleasure to the performer.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it does.
well, you've been, as Jeremy absolutely says, a wonderful inspiration. We're going to hear another on your last, which I believe, Hattie, you wrote.
Yes, yeah, I wrote it a few years ago. I'm trying to remember how many, quite a few, but
Yeah, it was
there's a lot of
ages.
teenage angst in there. So it's very different to the Ode to the Borough that we heard earlier.
All right, well, we'll hear that.
Pull your resources, gather up your horses, 'cause somewhere in this dark world you're trying to survive. Run home, little girl, wash your eyes from what you observed. This world is sinister, it's full of crazy people, and you've got a lot to learn. Your heart is sore from losing your direction, and everything you know is turning into something else. People stop and stare at your complexion, your lips are white, your eyes are bloodshot red. Who was that man who turned your world upside down? Who was that figure who clouded your vision? Something has to give, my love. We have to find a way to work out the pieces of this puzzle and to find your way out of this maze. Your heart is sore from losing your direction, and everything you know turning into something else. People stop and stare at your complexion, your lips are white, your eyes are bloodshot red. Step off the scale, darkness only fills your cells. Say your prayers. Nobody ever said anything about hell. The sky, it turns a fiery red, and you can't see the dark cloud over you is circling around you. Your heart is sore from losing your direction, and everything you know is turning into something else. People stop and stare at your complexion, your lips are white, your eyes are bloodshot red.
Limbo, written by Hattie Leedham, sung by the Leedham Sisters. What a way to finish. What Homestage tries to do is to bring a platform to performers like the three of you. And I actually think we nailed it tonight. And I think we've done, you have done for us just the most fantastic job. And I've
Thank
absolutely
you.
loved it. Absolutely loved it. So thank you on behalf of everybody. Still comments coming in. On behalf of
Thank
everybody.
you for having us.
Well,
Yes,
it's been
it's a massive privilege to be invited and to hear you two as well. What a delight. I've enjoyed this evening so much.
yeah,
Me too.
I think everybody has. So thank you. We'll see you in a fortnight's time. and it's been a real pleasure. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night. Good night.